Before I tell you how I got here, take 1 second. Top like. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Because this story? This is the one I swore would die with me. And if I'm finally saying it out loud, you might as well stay to the end. His name was Travis. My husband's closest friend. The scent of his cologne, woodsy, bold, familiar, filled the space between us. My dress had ridden high without me noticing. My body reacted before my mind could catch up. His voice was low near my ear. "You're shaking." "I know," I whispered. And right before everything tipped past the point of no return, I thought of how it all started. Because nothing like this ever begins in one moment. It begins in the quiet spaces, long before the first touch. Let me take you back. I married Ethan when I was 27. We met at a corporate retreat in Houston. Name tags, conference coffee, awkward icebreakers. He was polished, controlled. The kind of man who never had wrinkles in his shirt or uncertainty in his voice. My friends called him the safe bet. And at that time in my life, safe sounded like peace. I had dated chaos before him. Passion that burned bright and died fast. Men who made my heart race but never stayed. I told myself I was done with storms. Ethan was stability. And stability felt like growing up. The beginning was good. Predictable, but good. We moved in together after a year. Engagement 6 months later. A small wedding outside Austin. Warm lights, soft music, close friends. The photos looked like a magazine spread of perfect new beginnings. We even got the dog. Golden Retriever. Mux. The house. The routines. Sunday groceries. Shared calendars. From the outside, we were the couple people envied. And maybe for a while, I believed it too. But comfort has a quiet side effect. It dulls things. Ethan's career took off fast. Promotions. Travel. Late nights. Conference calls at dinner. Laptop glow in bed. He still loved me. I don't doubt that. But I started feeling like something displayed, not discovered. Admired. Not desired. Seen as a role. Not as a woman. And that kind of loneliness is strange. Because you're not alone. You're just untouched in the ways that matter. That's when his friends became part of our normal life. Travis and Mike. They'd been close to Ethan since college. Travis walked into rooms like he owned oxygen. Loud laugh. Easy confidence. The type of man who didn't ask if he could flirt. He just did, like it was a reflex. Mike was the opposite. Quieter. Observant. The kind of guy who spoke less but noticed everything. At first it was harmless. Compliments. Lingering looks. A little tension you pretend not to see. But attention, when you've been starving for it, doesn't feel small. It feels like water. The night everything shifted. We hosted a barbecue. Music loud. Drinks flowing. Laughter spilling through the house. Ethan drank too much and was asleep before the night even ended. I was in the kitchen cleaning when Travis came up behind me to grab a beer. "You always look unreal in that dress," he said. "You've seen it before," I laughed. "Yeah," he said, eyes holding mine. "But tonight you're wearing it differently." I should have stepped away. I didn't. Because for the first time in months, someone wasn't looking at me like a partner in logistics. He was looking at me like temptation. And I felt it everywhere. After that, thoughts I didn't invite started showing up anyway. Lying next to Ethan, listening to his steady breathing, imagining different hands, different urgency, different hunger. I told myself it was fantasy, until the night it stopped being one. 2 weeks later, Ethan invited Travis over for a game. I said I was going to bed early. I didn't. I waited. When Ethan fell asleep on the couch, I walked downstairs in a robe I hadn't chosen by accident. Travis looked up. Our eyes locked. He didn't ask questions. He just gave me one chance to walk away. I didn't take it. And that's how lines disappear. Not with explosions. With silence, and one step forward. What happened after that didn't feel like recklessness. It felt like waking up. Like remembering I had a pulse. But secrets don't stay small. They grow. And soon. Travis wasn't the only one who knew. Mike. One night, Ethan was out of town. My phone buzzed. "Mike. I saw you that night," he texted. My heart stopped. But his next message wasn't anger. It was curiosity. And something else. Something that said he didn't just see what I did. He saw what I was missing. When he came over, everything felt different. Softer. Slower. Intentional. He didn't take. He asked. He watched my face like my reactions mattered. And that scared me more than desire ever could. Because desire fades. Connection doesn't. Soon I was living two lives. Wife by day. Secret by night. Travis was fire. Fussed. Intense. Addictive. Mike was depth. Attention. Understanding. And Ethan. Ethan was home. Safe. Steady. But safety had stopped reaching the places inside me that felt empty. One rainy Friday, everything collided. Ethan left for a retreat. The doorbell rang. Both of them stood there. And in that moment, I knew this wasn't just an affair anymore. This was a choice I was already in too deep to pretend I hadn't made. If you think you know where this story goes, you don't. Because the real twist isn't what we did. It's what it turned me into. And the night Ethan finally noticed something was wrong. That's when everything burned. My phone lit up in the dark. Travis, back door. 3 words. That was all it took. Ethan was asleep beside me, one arm stretched across the bed, breathing slow, peaceful, trusting. I stared at the ceiling, my heart already racing like I'd been running. This was the moment where a good person turns over, ignores the message, and chooses safety. Instead, I slid out of bed. Every step down the hallway felt louder than it should have been. The house had that midnight stillness, fridge humming, floorboards remembering every footstep. I told myself this would be quick, meaningless. Just a moment. That's the lie people like me get good at telling. When I opened the back door, Travis slipped inside without a word. No flirting smile. No jokes. Something in his face had changed. What's wrong? I whispered. He ran a hand through his hair, pacing once across the kitchen tiles. It's Mike. My stomach dropped. What about him? He's not just involved anymore. He's asking questions. About you. About Ethan. About where this is going. I folded my arms, suddenly cold. We agreed this wasn't going anywhere. That's the problem, Travis said quietly. For you maybe. Not for him. I hadn't thought about that. Not really. To me this existed in a sealed box. A hidden room in my life. No future, no past, just moments stolen from reality. But Mike didn't treat me like a moment. He treated me like a possibility. And reminding me of that felt dangerous in a way desire never had. That was the first crack. Not guilt. Not fear of being caught. But the realization that this wasn't just physical anymore. Not for everyone involved. And emotional messes are harder to hide than lipstick on a collar. The shift. After that night, things changed. Travis became impatient. Possessive in small ways. Texts like "you with him?" Or "don't answer Mike tonight." Mike, on the other hand, got quieter, deeper. He'd ask things like, "Do you ever feel lonely even when someone's right next to you?" Or, "If you could start over, would you choose differently?" Questions Ethan hadn't asked me in years. Questions I didn't want to answer. Because answers make things real. Meanwhile, Ethan started noticing things. Not the affair, but the distance. "You seem distracted lately," he said one morning over coffee. "I'm just tired," I replied too fast. He nodded, but his eyes lingered a second longer than usual. Suspicion doesn't explode. It grows roots. The almost caught moment. 2 weeks later, everything nearly collapsed. Mike had come over while Ethan was at the gym. It wasn't supposed to overlap. But Ethan forgot his laptop and came back early. I was in the kitchen when I heard the garage door open. Mike was still in the living room. For one full second, I stopped breathing. I walked out calmly, heart slamming so hard I thought the walls could hear it. Ethan stepped inside, keys in hand. "Oh hey," he said, surprised. "Didn't know we had company." Mike stood up, smooth as ever. "Just returning that drill I borrowed." Normal. Casual. Believable. Except Ethan looked between us a little too long. Not accusation. Just calculation. That night, he touched me differently. Like he was trying to reconnect to something slipping through his fingers. And the guilt finally arrived. Not loud. But heavy. Jealousy turns ugly. The next real break came on another Friday. I hadn't answered Travis for hours because I was out with Mike earlier that week. When I finally checked my phone, I had 6 missed calls. Then a message. We need to talk. Now. He showed up angry in a way I hadn't seen before. You think I don't see what's happening? He said, voice low. You're choosing him. I'm not choosing anyone, I snapped. That's the point. You don't get to keep us in separate boxes forever. But that's exactly what I'd been doing. Compartmentalizing desire like it came with labeled drawers. What I didn't understand was this. I was managing secrets. They were managing feelings. And those two things don't follow the same rules. Ethan's moment. The night everything truly shifted wasn't dramatic. No one walked in. No phone got exposed. It was quieter than that. Ethan and I were watching TV when he muted the volume. Are you happy? He asked. Simple question. Terrifying answer. I opened my mouth, and nothing came out. Because I didn't know anymore. I loved him. I cared about our life. Our history. But happiness? That felt like a word from an earlier chapter. He nodded slowly, like my silence said enough. And for the first time, I saw something I'd never seen in him before. Not anger. Not suspicion. Fear. Of losing me. The spiral. After that, the affair stopped feeling exciting. It started feeling like standing on cracking ice. Every text notification tightened my chest instead of thrilling it. Every knock at the door made my pulse jump. Travis wanted more of me. Mike wanted a future with me. Ethan wanted the version of me he thought he still had. And I didn't know which version was real anymore. The woman who craved heat? The one who chose safety? Or the one who had built a life on half-truths and called it balance? The night it all comes out. It didn't explode the way I imagined. No dramatica enfrentación. No screaming. It was Max. The dog. He'd knocked over a side table while playing, and my second phone, the one I used for Travis and Mike, slid out from underneath the couch. Ethan picked it up. Why do you have another phone? And just like that, the air left the room. I could have lied. I almost did. But secrets, when exposed to light, lose their power to stay pretty. I didn't know how to tell you, I said. Which wasn't an answer. But it was the truth. What followed wasn't shouting. It was worse. Silence. The kind that stretches so long you realize something permanent just broke. Here's what no one tells you. Affairs don't just risk marriages. They fracture identities. Because somewhere between being wanted and being dishonest, you stop recognizing yourself. And when Ethan asked, was I not enough? I didn't have a villain speech ready. I just had tears. Because he was enough. For the life we built. Just not for the emptiness I never admitted I had. If this story hit you harder than you expected, you already know why people hide the truth. Subscribe, because some secrets don't end. They follow you.